Well, hello and welcome to EllieMD's live educational series. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm tonight's host and EllieMD's social media manager, Brenda Rios. We're so glad you're here as we continue our mission to help people live healthier and longer lives. At EllieMD, we go beyond telehealth. We're building a community rooted in education, innovation, and personalized support to empower your wellness journey. Tonight, we're excited to welcome back Dr. Jason Pencek, a board-certified nurse practitioner and chiropractor who blends traditional and integrative medicine to deliver whole-person, results-driven care. With more than a decade of experience across nursing, chiropractic medicine, peptide therapy, hormone optimization, and longevity treatments, Dr. Pencek focuses on improving metabolic health and helping patients achieve sustainable outcomes through GLP-1 based therapies. His work centers on balance, vitality, and long-term wellness. Jason, thank you so much for coming back and joining us tonight. Thank you. So,
Thank
to
you.
begin, can you share a little bit more about your journey? We have a lot of new people tuning in, especially with this
Sure.
week's special launch. So, what fuels your passion for helping people live healthier and longer lives?
Yeah. This started more than a decade ago. I actually didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I first found that maybe using my hands, and that was all I had. The world ends. All I had was my hands. I thought, hey, great idea. Use chiropractic medicine, treat with my hands. I didn't know what chiropractors did before I went to school. And I quickly found out after my first adjustment, oh, that's what they do. And I wanted more. I wanted to do more. I was really excited and passionate about healthcare in general. So I kind of delved into the next step, which is nurse practitioner, so I could start prescribing and using all the things I thought were really cool. I was learning them in school already. And then when I was graduated, I was doing IV therapy and hormone replacement therapy, some joint injections pretty exclusively for the first maybe 2, 3 years of practice, and accidentally found peptides. My friends had always joked that they wanted to get big and strong and be on steroids. And they said I was the man to do it. So I had to guide them on their steroid and growth hormone journey. Now, unfortunately, did not get the steroids. I did not go down that pathway, but I started looking at growth hormone and found my first information on growth hormone peptides, such as testosterone and ipamorelin that EllieMD now offers. And I got really interested. I had no idea what peptides were. This was probably a little over 7.5 years ago. And then I found some research. I had a friend of mine that was already working with the clinic, and this clinic already was doing peptide medicine. So she sent me all the information they had, all the white papers, all the research. I started reading and I got really excited. I found the first peptide seminar. This is right when peptides started becoming a thing. And I started training with Dr. Seeds, who's big in the peptide world. I did his second mastermind ever and went to one of his first conferences and fell in love. So the last 7 years have been lots of peptides for me. I was using peptides before I think they were cool. And now, of course, everyone thinks peptides is fun and cool. Of course, GLP-1s came out and everyone got excited about peptides. It was the first peptide that really kind of broke into the main scene. And now everyone says, what else can I do? Right? It was the secret underground thing. A lot of bodybuilders were using peptides before. And then I think this is the place where, our classic soccer moms can meet the muscle heads in the gym in the same form and say, oh my gosh, how do I build a little more muscle and not look bulky? So I really got into peptides because they do so many things other than muscle building, right? We have fat loss, we have immune therapy, we have things to help with our, skin color for tanning. I mean, if you name a condition out there, there's probably a peptide that I'm using for it. I have a huge amount of peptides they use in practice. I can't say enough good stuff. We love peptides. Why? Because they're so safe. A lot of the things that we use in our body are related to peptides. I mean, GLP-1s are naturally occurring. That's something we've been using now for a few years. I've been using for about 6 to 7 years now. I first learned about them when I first learned peptides. They just didn't have semaglutide and tirzepatide back then. We had liraglutide to use. So peptides have been something I've used in practice. I have to tell people all the time, peptides are not cheating. For anyone out there that's wondering, hey, if I'm using peptides, is this a cheat? Well, it's a cheat code for life, yes, but it's not cheating in trying to get the results you want. Here's the thing: as we age, our body's just doing this slowly but surely going down. So when I use peptides in therapy and in practice, I'm always telling patients, you're on this timeline where your body's degrading. year after year. Once you hit 25, unfortunately, things are not going to go up and get better. Yes, you can build more muscle mass. It's not like you can't build muscle after the age of 25, but the thing is, our bodies start breaking down at 25 and just continue to start going that way. So, what we see is decrease in hormones, sex hormones, growth hormone, thyroid starts to not work as well. Our skin, hair, nails don't grow as well. So, what we're trying to do is bring these things back to our body. I don't think of them as cheating. But I think of them as, hey, I want to get this body back to where it's supposed to be when I was in my 20s or 30s. So all we're trying to do with patients is really bring you back to harmony of where your body would naturally be if you didn't start to age. That's what I think the wellness journey is for most people out there. We want to do things that are simple and easy and the least amount of things possible. We all have supplement regimes we're probably on, and who wants to take 50 supplements a day? And in practice, that wasn't feasible. So peptide medicine really became a way for me to reduce supplements and also still improve the wellness and health of my patients with a bigger output than I had previously. So hugely impressed and very excited about peptide medicine. I'm glad we're going to talk about some peptides today
Mhm.
because really this is what we're here for. We all want to live a little bit longer and feel a little bit better and look a little bit better for as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, I love that. And I hear it from initially first from family and friends when I started my terzepatide journey. So now it's been like
Mhm,
a year and a half. And yeah, when you first start, you fall in love with GLP-1 and you want to
mhm,
experience the other peptides. So now I've done
mhm.
like Tessa IPA, Sermorelin, GHK, and NAD. Like you just get to learn so much more about peptides and you experience these amazing benefits and people will notice. Like now my parents use a BPC. My dad used to have really bad arthritis and he was going to get a surgery to remove some of the balls on his finger
Mhm.
and a month on BPC. And he just ended up canceling that surgery because he just had these amazing results. And he was so skeptical at first, but I kept trying to tell him, like, no, you should try it. Like, I heard these amazing stories from all these brand partners. So it's amazing. And I definitely agree with what you said that I mean, it's changing lives and
Mhm.
it's not cheating, like it's bettering people's lives. I like to see them as tools, and that's what I tell people. Like I still had to go to the gym and up my protein. Like it wasn't just the tirzepatide that was helping me with the weight loss. You still have to put in the work.
Exactly.
Love it. And of course, like with this week, a lot of people are learning about our new launch, which is the personalization. So we have new additives. And
Mhm.
I want to go back to the beginning. So GLP-1s in general. So we kind of talked about those. But for anyone new who's tuning in that just found out about this launch, what makes GLP-1 medication such a powerful tool in weight management and metabolic health?
This is a good one. GLP-1s are amazing for helping improve so many systems in the body. There's not an area in the body that GLP-1s are not working on, which is why we really like them. We don't see just weight loss benefits, and I'm always telling patients the weight loss to me is secondary. It's great you lose weight. I'm really happy about that, but primary benefit is metabolic improvements. We see metabolic improvements leading to low risk of heart disease. Who doesn't want to have a 30% reduction of heart disease risk? I mean, that's an absolutely why not? We want to see reduced reduction in neural inflammation. So brain inflammation goes down, which means you have reduction in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We now have studies showing liraglutide, a cousin to semaglutide and tirzepatide, actually lowers the risk of your Alzheimer's. It also slows down the symptoms of Alzheimer's by about 20% year over year, with 50% more brain mass. Now, if this happens with liraglutide, we know that semaglutide and tirzepatide are stronger to have benefits. The outlook on these is even better for the Alzheimer's community. So if you have a loved one that's got Alzheimer's and starts going down the dementia route, wow, now we have an option for it that actually has some good data behind it. We see improvements in kidney function. I have patients that have kidney disease. It stops kidney disease, slows it down. There are so many areas that I'm seeing GLP-1s working. And again, it's not that the weight loss isn't important, right? I think weight loss is important for people to do. It is very difficult for weight loss to occur in many people out there. But the GLP-1s do so much more than that. And I think people get caught up in, again, this cheating. Oh, I'm taking a GLP-1, it's just cheating. Well, Here's the thing, we naturally make GLP-1s. The difference between the GLP-1 receptor agonists that we talk about here and our naturally occurring GLP-1s in our body is they sit around a little bit longer. They hold on to the receptor a little bit longer. So they just last a little bit longer in the system. So when you think about a curve, logarithmic curve, you have this like giant uptake of GLP-1s when we're giving the injectables, rather than things like acromantia. They can also raise GLP-1s, but it does it very quickly. When you take a product like acromantia, which does raise GLP-1s, it's a probiotic. It's very quick, short acting. It's around for just a few minutes and gone. So people seeing weight loss in that, or they seeing the reductions of inflammation, Alzheimer's, and all these other things we talk about. No, not really, not to the same extent. The GLP-1s that we have now with the semaglutide and tirzepatide really just improve your overall health, because not only are we going to lose the weight, but see, we see inflammation go down, inflammation markers go down, things like TNF alpha, interleukin 1 beta, interleukin 6. These are all inflammatory cytokines. And here's the thing, my women in menopause who seem to be the best responders, it's because you lose estrogen. And when you lose estrogen, these inflammatory cytokines go up. So a lot of women will say, hey, I go into estrogen, into menopause, and all of a sudden I just ache more. I have a little more pain. I don't feel as good as I did. And that's because you have a drop of estrogen about 90, 95% over the course of a year. And what happens is all these inflammatory cytokines go up. So you have more inflammation when you go into menopause. You add a GLP-1 into that, and now you have a decrease of that inflammation. Even patients I have who are on hormone therapy with me and we use an estradiol and progesterone, they're still going to make some pains because the amount of estrogen I'm giving you is not going to match the amount of estrogen you had when you were young in your 20s or 30s. So, again, what can we do? We can add things like GLP-1s to help with this inflammation we see, bring down brain inflammation and overall inflammation. I'm using GLP-1s. I mean, I can't think of a time almost ever I'm not considering a GLP-1 when it comes to practice. I use it so often. We do the microdosing. A lot of people out there are using microdosing. Again, microdosing for me is going to be using a very small amount, enough to cause a change somewhere in the body, maybe lab them seeing inflammation markers like CRP going down. I see patients feeling a little better. And what I'm looking for really is a dose that's not causing weight loss. Now, when it comes to weight loss, obviously these are miracle, drugs. They've come out and they've just blown away the drug market when it comes to any kind of weight loss, because you're losing anywhere between 15 and 21% with these things. So we just see this massive amount of weight loss. What happens when you lose weight? Guess what? Metabolically, you're better as well. You see even larger reductions in weight loss. Just GLP-1s by themselves reduce cancer risk. But if you can get a person to lose about 10 pounds overall, there's about a 10% risk reduction of cancer in general. So we get people into better, healthy weights. We see cancer risk go down, right? We see Alzheimer's risk, Parkinson's, all these things, liver function gets better, heart disease goes down from weight loss as well. So GLP-1s by themselves independently can do this. But on top of that, you're also seeing this happen with the weight loss. So losing weight is one of the best things people can do. It is hard. GLP-1s slow the stomach down. They reduce our cravings. That's a big one. So everyone talks about food noise. It's awful right now, right? If you sitting there and you're looking at the food, trying to decide what you want to eat, you might say, "Hey, that donut over there looks really good." Come to Thanksgiving right now. Everyone's so excited with Thanksgiving. I personally love pumpkin pie. It's my favorite in the world. And I would tell you, I run a GLP-1. I'm on a GLP-1 right now, and when I run my GLP-1s, I'm on these at a low dose. I don't really crave that sugar. That sugar craving goes down. So we do see cravings decrease on your GLP-1. So a lot of patients will actually come on GLP-1s. And I think of it as training wheels, right? These are your training wheels. You're riding a bike. You have to learn how to do things right. You don't want to fall over. So our parents are kind enough to make sure we don't get hurt by putting these training wheels on. And here's the thing, GLP-1s help that. Think of it as also the when you're bowling, right? We got the bumpers down there, and it's to make sure you know to learn. You get down the right way, and you feel like you're a winner. And that's what these things are doing. They're helping us feel like winners. We can control our appetite better. We're turning down food more. And many of my patients will tell me after they come off, yeah, I'm able to pick better foods. Maybe some of these food cravings do come back, but they're not picking the same foods because while they're using GLP-1, they are looking for better food quality, right? I'm looking for more greens. I'm looking for more organic foods. I'm looking for more protein. This is the big one, is protein increases when you're on GLP-1s. If you're not increasing your protein content while you're on GLP-1, you will start to lose muscle mass. So these patients are starting to think, what does my lifestyle look like when I come off this stuff? Well, guess what? We have to just have a better diet, because these are not miracles. You don't come off a GLP-1 and have an appetite suppressed forever. That's just not realistic, nor is it healthy to have that happen for the rest of your life. So what we're trying to do is set in good intentions and good boundaries when it comes to diet and nutrition and protein content and exercise. And while we're doing that, these GLP-1s help us guide that way. A lot of patients will come off, and if they're counseled correctly, as many of these people on LEMD, they're hearing from people and looking at this. And this is the point of education, is we're educating you to say, unlike your regular doctor who might be giving out a GLP-1 at the doctor's office, there's no counseling. They're saying, take this, good luck with life. We hope you lose weight. And if not, okay, well, you can come back and let me know. But they're not giving any of the other advice. And what we really have to make sure we're putting out there is, we have to be taking more protein. We have to think about our food and our diet, our nutrition, as well as our exercise. Maybe we have to look at hormones and see if hormones are playing a role. I don't want anyone to come off GLP-1s and feel like this is the crutch they have to be on for the rest of their lives. That is not what we want to do. The microdose that we use is not meant to keep that weight off forever. It's meant to improve your overall longevity, again, all the things I talked about. So GLP-1 is the cornerstone of my practice. Want to talk about hormones? Maybe that first visit, I'm talking about GLP-1s as well. There's just so many benefits I see them working on. When I'm looking at labs and looking at my kidney function, what's my liver function, what's my inflammation, all three of those GLP-1s help with. I might wait to the second visit to start these things or initiate them, but I'm at least looking at them and saying, hey, by the way, you might be a good candidate to try a GLP-1. I highly recommend it for X, Y, and Z reasons. You should consider it. And when we're doing weight loss with patients, we're counseling the same way. Hey, you might want to increase your protein content. You might want to start exercising more. And for me, they really aren't even asked. They're saying, this is what we're doing, period. I need you to go exercise more. I need you to spend time in the gym. I need you to do strength training. And part of these patients will come to me and say, I can't exercise. I'm in pain still. And this is why we have other peptides that exist, like BPC-157, like you were saying, Brenda. So we have other options to get people back in the gym, but that is a non-negotiable for me. If I can get you in that gym to exercise, I need you to do that. Because again, when you come off these things, if you don't have lifestyle factors in place, you will not 100% be able to continue maintain this forever, because that food noise will come back. And I want people to understand it's not gone forever. So GLP-1s are really the part of my base pyramid for me in my practice, and for a lot of people out there. We're using it because metabolic health is so impressive. The number one disease in America and really the world is going to be heart disease. And if we can lower that risk of the number one health disease across the country here, well, guess what? Now we have people who are going to live longer and feel better. I think I talk about health span all the time, and that's how long we live, and oh, sorry, how well we live, and then lifespan's how long we live. So health span, how long do you feel good for? No one wants to go into their 60s, 70s, 80s in pain. They're needing to be on a bunch of blood pressure meds. They have to be on something for beta blockers to help their heart. We have all these heart defects that happen. Well, how do we stop this from happening? We start doing things for you now. What is happening in your 40s and 50s is really going to make a massive difference come to your 60s and 70s. Yes, you can play around in your 20s, sometimes into your 30s. You can not worry. Hey, I'm going to have a whole cheesecake tonight. I'm going to eat just complete garbage, and it won't be nearly detrimental to you because you still have functioning mitochondria. You still have better thyroid hormones, testosterone still works better. All the rest of the body's still doing well. But now you move into your 30s, you start to notice these things start to change. You walk into your 40s and like, oh my gosh, I'm in my 40s now. It's a lot harder. I can't tell you how many patients come to me and say they hit their 40s and it just hit them like, wow, this suddenly got a lot harder. My daughter's in her, 18, 19, 20. I'm in my 40s. And my gosh, I look at her and she can just eat whatever she wants. Well, yeah, you could have too when you were in your teens and 20s. We forget that. And then we get reminded by this by seeing people younger than us. And we're like, what is going on here? Well, things change. Now, if we want our health span to be really great for the next 20 years of their life, we have to start doing things now. So again, my 20-year-old patients are coming to me. Obviously, I'm doing weight loss. I'm still doing these things. But I see a lot less 20-year-olds than I do 40-year-olds, because at 40, we're having a lot harder time with working on metabolic control. Again, this is why I'm doing hormones and GLP-1s so frequently in patients. So maybe that was a little bit longer than you needed, Brenda, but
That's perfect.
GLP-1s are the cornerstone.
No, there's a lot to touch on with that. Like some of the comments that came in, Maureen, going back to the food noise,
Mhm.
especially with the holidays coming up. Like I have
Yeah.
Thanksgiving planned next week, and yeah, same. I used to be a person who always thinks about sweets, but
Mhm.
I did tirzepatide. I hit my weight goal in like by the eighth month, and then I was just
Yeah.
microdosing it. But I made those lifestyle changes. I did hit like a couple of plateaus, but again, going back to the protein, I made a increased my protein. I did more cardio and I was exercising even before GLP-1s, but it just wasn't doing anything for me. I
Mhm.
did the fad diets and really GLP-1s was like that key in the ignition that really just helped with that. And yeah, going into the other peptides that just continue with that longevity and wellness journey, like Summerella and NAD. But Maureen, she commented that post-menopause, and this is the first time in decades that she's not stressed about the holiday eating season.
Mhm.
And I think
I
a
love
lot
that,
of people
Maureen.
relate to that. Yeah, and again, there's just so many benefits just with GLP-1s by
Mhm.
themselves. So
Yeah.
now, with this week, we have the personalization that just launched, and there's two new additives. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us are familiar with NAD and B12, and we'll touch on
Mhm.
those a little, but I really want to shed light to the newer ones. So
Mhm.
glycine and L-carnitine. So, how do peptides like glycine and L-carnitine complement GLP-1s and enhance those results?
Of course. So technically, both of these are going to be single amino acids. So when we talk about peptides in general, Brenda, peptides are multiple amino acids put together. They're building blocks. I think I probably used this analogy before, but it's like making a sentence. Glycine could be one word, like cat. And when I say glycine, you don't understand what it means. It does do things in the body by itself. Don't get me wrong. Glycine has biological things it works on, but when you make a peptide, you're putting two amino acids together at least in a row. So you're going to put cat with run. Like you can say, see the cat run, and you can understand what that means. If I just said cat, you'd say, where? Like, what am I looking for? So this is what the peptides are. There are a bunch of these amino acids put together, and some of these amino acids by themselves can actually do random things by themselves. So, for example, glycine. It's a really great peptide, works on deep sleep. So it helps lower core body temperature and activates our parasympathetic system. Parasympathetic is the rest digest. That's going to help you relax. That's going to bring you down. It's going to bring you better sleep. It also reduces inflammation more. So you're going to see improvements in inflammation. So we already said GLP-1s reduce inflammation. Now you add glycine in and you improve that inflammation reduction even further. It's going to work on the same TNF alpha and interleukin 6 that we see with using a GLP-1. It also is one third of the part of collagen. So people want to take collagen peptides. This is the big thing now. GHKCU increases collagen production in the body, but you also want collagen peptides to help improve this. And also glycine is one of these parts of collagen. So you can take more glycine in, you can improve your collagen production. It also works on helping with blood sugar and it reduces cravings because blood sugar is a little better. So this also works well with your GLP-1. Hey, if we're reducing blood sugar, that's the same thing the GLP-1 is doing. So they're working very simultaneously together to help do the same sort of things. And the last thing, it helps with liver detox. So it can help liver detox, which again, we see improvements using GLP-1s because they help lower liver enzymes. They help your liver work better. And when your liver is processing better, detox is working better. The final thing that we like about glycine is it improves muscle mass. So when you're on a GLP-1 and we're always talking about how do we keep that muscle mass on, well, a little bit of glycine could help that. Glycine can help preserve muscle mass by helping improve protein synthesis. And it's also going to work at helping that deep sleep. When you get better deep sleep, you have a better ability to make more protein and help utilize the protein to make more muscle since your recovery is now better. Secondarily, L-carnitine is another amino acid. We love L-carnitine. L-carnitine is big for fat metabolism. So this is what moves your fat into the mitochondria. So your fat can be used. We want to use as much fat as we can, right? We want to burn more fat. Everyone that's doing weight loss is like, well, I don't want to lose any muscle. All I want to do is lose fat. It's great. Well, guess what? L-carnitine helps that shuttle system that moves fat into the cell so that you can get these fatty acids in there and break them down and actually burn more fat. So I love that. Secondarily, it also boosts your energy. Now, this fat has gone into the cell. The mitochondria can use the fat. It has more ability to make more energy. So now you have more cellular energy. So again, two things here already we see with GLP-1s. GLP-1s, you want to burn more fat and hold more muscle. And then two, the thing with GLP-1, some patients will complain about fatigue. That is a common complaint that I hear in practice. Hey, I'm getting tired from this GLP-1. I've noticed I'm a little more exhausted. I often more see that in semaglutide than tirzepatide. So if anyone's feeling fatigued on semaglutide, I'm putting them on tirzepatide. Well, guess what? Now we have an option to add tirzepatide and add L-carnitine so we can improve that energy production and produce ATP at the cellular level. So this is a really big thing. If you want to improve that energy in someone, you're like, hey, what can I start doing? Think of L-carnitine. It's going to reduce your delayed onset muscle soreness. So people that are working out, now I want you in the gym. I want you to lift weights. You're getting sore, right? This is what happens. You're not in your 20s anymore. When you lift weights, it's a lot more soreness the next day. Well, carnitine can reduce that delayed onset muscle soreness, the stuff you get the next day, because it can help clear out lactic acid better. So you get your lactic acid faster, you have less of this muscle soreness the next day. And then it's also going to work on improving your metabolism by helping your thyroid. So here's another thing people talk about all the time. I'm worried about my thyroid. I'm worried about being on GLP-1. Should be worried? First off, no. I'm never worried about people's thyroid. In fact, I see better thyroid function on a GLP-1 because we reduce inflammation, which allows the thyroid to function better. Now we can add our carnitine to this, and we can help the T3, which is the active part of the thyroid. So you have T4, you have T3. T3 is what's active. It helps move this into mitochondria better and allows our bodies to utilize this thyroid even better than it did before. Again, you're also going to see detox pathways improve by being on carnitine, which improves your overall GLP-1. And then it also helps the brain. So you have better brain function, you have better mood, you have better energy overall, you have better fat loss. I mean, these two uh, obviously are a little bit different. L-carnitine's more energy and glycine kind of brings you down a little bit. So they are slightly different. So it really depends where your focus is. Hey, am I like, I want more fat burn, I want more energy, I want to improve my muscle soreness, or do I want to build a little more muscle? Do I want to feel a little more, get a little better sleep? Do I want to kind of like rest and digest, bring myself down a little bit? They are slightly differently. So it really depends where that goal is for that patient. Where does the person want to go? Are they pushing really hard and saying, hey, right now, my sleep is perfect. Like I haven't had bad sleep in my life. So right now, all I'm focused on is burning more fat. I want to help get my energy even better. Great. Then we just go to L-carnitine. This is a great amino acid. I think it's wonderful. I actually take L-carnitine injections myself to utilize before the gym. It really improves my, again, fat oxidation and my energy for the gym. So I'm big on L-carnitine. I think it's absolutely amazing. Glycine is really great when I use it before bed. Glycine can help bring me down, helps me rest, helps me relax. I'm a big fan of glycine for, again, reducing the inflammation. So if you're like, my problem is inflammation, it's really bad. I'm not sleeping as well. My inflammation's bad. My blood sugar is, through the roof. I'm having a really high hemoglobin A1C, which is my blood sugar. My insulin level is really high. Glycine would be a better option for you. So it really depends on where this pathway and where you are. Typically, in the beginning, you see a lot more inflammation. So maybe in the first beginning part of using GLP-1, glycine might be a better option. My inflammation is really bad. My sleep is really bad. My blood sugar is really terrible. I can't detox for crap. Well, glycine might be a beginning step. Might be something just to add in the beginning. When you've been on a GLP-1, like for example, and Brenda, you've been on it for a while. You hit your weight loss goals. You're where you're at. Hey, I want to build muscle mass now. I'm gonna go to the gym, use these other peptides and help these things. What's my next step? Maybe carnitine is the next step to add in now, because carnitine is going to aid in these other areas that you don't need as badly as you need to. Glycine in the beginning. Glycine really helps in the beginning, again, for the inflammation, detox, and sleep. So it really depends on what your focus and what your goal is when it comes to personalization. These two amino acids are absolutely incredible. I do take glycine, I put those in the IVs that I use now. And I use, again, L-carnitine myself on my injections. I'll probably do an injection tomorrow before I go run the High Rocks. So they're both absolutely amazing, but they're used for different things.
I love that. And going back to that
Mhm.
muscle with glycine,
Yeah,
how would it differ from maybe Summerellin
yeah,
when it comes to muscle?
great question. Um, Glycine is going to be nowhere near as powerful. Taking single amino acids, if it was as powerful as Summerlin wouldn't exist. All these people out here be like, I'm just taking glycine, don't worry about it. Summerlin is a growth hormone releasing hormone. So the GHRHs work on the pituitary. We naturally make growth hormone releasing hormone, but this is going to last a little bit longer. Think of the growth hormone releasing hormones like testosterone and Summerlin akin to your GLP-1 RAs. So we naturally make growth hormone releasing hormones, but these are going to work a little bit longer than the receptors. They bind a little bit tighter to the receptors. They last longer. So Summerlin or testosterone will improve your growth hormone output. Here's the thing. By the time you've hit 60, you're making 10% of the growth hormone you made when you were at puberty. Every decade, when you start in the 20s, you decrease by about 15%. Now, this is not a linear. It's not like you go from 21 to 22 to 23 and every year slightly going up. You can go from 21 to 23 and have dropped that 15% in that time and just maintain that the next, multiple years all the way down. So this isn't a linear curve when it comes to how we lose growth hormone. That's just what we lose on average. Now, when growth hormone goes down, we see visceral fat go up. We see muscle mass go down. We see problems with sleep occur. We're going to see issues with, um, mood changes, energy changes. So growth hormone works on a lot of systems of the body. It works on most of the parts of the body actually. So when you take growth hormone, we see better libido, better mood, better sleep, better fat loss, better muscle gain, better repair recovery, better immune system. So all these things that Sermorelon's working on are going to be much higher level than taking something like glycine. Glycine's not going to hit those growth hormone pathways as well as taking Sermorelon. So the bottom line, Sermorelon and Testosterone are your go-tos to keep that muscle mass. Not that glycine isn't useful. It's just, on the level of orderness, you have your growth hormone peptides and growth hormone releasing hormone way up here, and you have your glycine just further down here. It's useful, but I'll tell you right now, bodybuilders are not pounding, scoop after scoop of glycine. What they're taking is growth hormone, right? They want to improve their growth hormone output because, again, there's much better muscle growth with that. Now, are you going to become a bodybuilder? Are you going to get ripped and have these giant muscles on growth hormone releasing hormone? No. What we like about them is they are not going to take you super physiologic, which means unlike giving growth hormone, you just produce as much as you can make. So when you're 60, you can still make a bunch of growth hormone. You just don't have the signaling there. So the growth hormone peptides will provide that signaling back. And when you get that signaling back, you can start making that growth hormone again. In fact, it wakes up dormant pituitary cells. So in your brain, the pituitary cells, the somatotrophs, stop working. They just kind of, there's no signal. So they're just like bored. Hey, I don't hear anything anymore. Let's take a nap. And what will happen is you start using a growth hormone releasing hormone like Sermorelin or Testosterone, it wakes everything back up. Now it's okay, wait, there's some noise here. We're hearing something. Okay, let's get to work. Let's start doing something. And then we see these improvements that we talked about. There's growth hormone releasing hormone receptors on different parts of the body, like heart is one of the areas. Our immune system has some in there. There are places these growth hormone releasing hormones work separately than what our actual growth hormone does. So when people want to be on growth hormone, I hear this often from patients. Why am I taking this instead of growth hormone? Well, first off, growth hormone is more expensive. It has more adverse effects. It's going to cause blood sugar dysregulation, insulin sensitivity. You get a lot more water retention on this. So long term, I'm not a big fan of growth hormone. But the caveat is growth hormone releasing hormones put out more isoforms and work on more biological systems. So growth hormone releasing hormone has multiple isoforms it's pushing out from the pituitary. Just so you understand, growth hormone is what's considered one isoform of growth hormone that's being pushed out from our bodies. It's the most powerful one. But there are about five variants, two main variants and like three splits off this that come from our pituitary. So what we want to do is give as much as we can what our body's naturally doing. So our body naturally pulses growth hormone. This is why the growth hormone releasing hormones are used once to twice a day. Testosterone's once a day. Sermorelin could be technically twice a day. The pulses are what makes it important, right? It's going to pulse your system to make more and then go away. When you give growth hormone, it's a static hold on this growth hormone, which means you're always getting the same level, which is not physiologic. We want to be as physiologic as possible when it comes to growth hormone so it doesn't shut down the pituitary and stop you from making more. So growth hormone is not going to be even close to glycine. It's going to just blow it out of the water. So yes, get your glycine, get your GLP-1. It'll help preserve a little more muscle mass than if you did nothing at all. But even more important, exercise, protein, and really consider your growth hormone. And that's part of my program as well. I'm always telling patients, hey, when you get on this, you might want to consider something to help that muscle mass. On the flip side, some people will say I get a little more hungry on these growth hormone releasing hormones, these peptides. Unfortunately, that is somewhat true. What does happen when you increase growth hormone, sometimes people get hungry. It's not common. It's not something I see all the time. I see more of that appetite suppression going on and more of that muscle gain coming back than I see people come back and say, I'm getting hungry. So we don't see that as often, but I do warn patients, hey, it is part of what happens here. When you improve growth hormone, you're growing, right? So what happens when you grow muscle mass? Your body wants to make more protein. So guess what? Here, more protein, everyone. You're hungry? Go grab that protein. grab some kind of protein bar, grab some kind of protein drink, get some chicken, get some fish, go get your vegan protein, whatever it is you're using. Please take more protein in because protein is going to be more thermogenic than fats and carbs, which means it's going to take a bit more energy to burn that in general. It does burn a little bit hotter. So I'm always pushing protein as much as humanly possible. I'm not doing the Atkins diet. I'm not carnivore. I'm not saying those things are bad, but I'm not saying that's what we have to do. We just have to get that protein level up to zero point 0.8 to 1.0 grams or per pound of body weight. So if you want to be, 150 pounds, you need 150 grams of protein. Let me tell you, that is hard to do. And if anyone can get their body start taking that much protein in, you won't think about carbs. You won't think about these other things. You want to get rid of food noise, eat enough protein. Food noise goes down. It's when you don't have enough protein that you have the problem. I like to tell patients if you are actually hungry, protein sounds great. If you're grazing and you just want to have something to eat, you're bored. We're bored eating, right? So when you're off a GLP-1, you're like, oh, I should go eat something right now. It's food laying out. If you're not looking for some kind of protein, if you're not hungry enough for protein, you're not hungry enough to really eat. So I'm always telling people, hey, look for that protein source first. And before you eat anything else in that meal, go to everything else. So again, this is this is all synergistic, right? All these things add together. This is the whole thing we're talking about, right? How does glycine add into GLP-1s? How does carnitine add? How do the growth hormone peptides? This is all a lifestyle wellness change. This isn't just about using one thing at a time. This is about how do we layer things so we can keep living longer and better. I'm not out there trying to push just one thing, just GLP-1s. They are a miracle. They are great. They're really, really wonderful. I can't say enough good stuff about them, but they are not everything. If you are not getting your nutrition or your diet or your exercise in there, we've failed you. Because this is not just meant to be a one-stop shop. It's meant to be how else can I support my body? Because you don't want to get off a GLP-1 and be one of those people, unfortunately, who goes back and gains all the way back. I've had patients that have done that, unfortunately, and they come back to me, I need to be on GLP-1 again. Great. What happened? I didn't listen to you. I started eating like I was before, and I didn't exercise. Well, there you go. So for most patients out there, they're taking accountability when they come back. I didn't listen. I didn't do what you said, right? They're not coming back to me and saying, well, this failed me. I ate the protein you did, and I ate I exercised like you said too, and I still gained the weight back. Now, when that happens, something else might be going on, right? I'm looking hormonally. What might be the next step that's going on? That's starting to happen to me. But in general, patients that have hormones balanced, thyroid, testosterone, they're seeing those improvements when they come off the GLP-1s. They're able to maintain their level of weight loss and muscle mass as they come off this. I've had patients build muscle while on GLP-1. So everyone talks about, oh, I'm going to lose all this muscle. That is not entirely true as long as you're eating protein and you're exercising. I ask, can you at least do a 30-minute walk 3 times a week? That's the minimum. Like I want weightlifting. I want strength training so badly. If anyone out there that's not strength training on GLP-1, I can't say enough good stuff. Please strength train. Muscle is the currency of aging. As you get older, muscle mass is what's going to make you live longer than someone else. So muscle mass is absolutely crucial to keep, which is why we don't lose it. So if I can get a patient to minimally do a 30-minute walk 3 times a week, it's something, right? I'm still doing something to improve muscle mass. But best case scenario for me is always going to be strength training. I want you to strength train, and I want some cardio in there as well. I still want that cardio added in. So I think Brenda, I added a little extra on there, but growth
I love
hormone,
it.
good.
I love it. I feel like that's my new routine now because I made those lifestyle changes. So even though I did tirzepatide for the weight loss, now I want it for longevity so I microdose. And that's my new routine now. I'll go to the gym after work at night, come
Mhm,
back and prioritize protein and then just knock out. Take my Tessa IPA before that. That's like what helps me knock out. But a question that came in is ta when to take it. So with glycine, since there's that muscle component,
mhm,
Alicia asked if one should take GLP-1 with glycine at night, or is there a best
mm.
times for
Yeah, that's
any
a
of
good
these
question.
combos?
Um, when I'm utilizing these things as single formulas, glycine's better at night. Carnitine is better before I work out. Since we're having it as a once a week injection, unless you're doing some kind of microdosing where you're doing it several times a week. Like I would do L-carnitine before going to work out. That would be when I use L-carnitine, and glycine would be before bed. So those would be the times overall. But since you're using this as a once a week kind of tool, I wouldn't say it's necessarily as important. If you're going to put glycine in, probably better to take it night before bed. If you're going to use L-carnitine, really any time of the day, I'd be fine with that for once a week. Maybe morning because it's going to be better for energy. So I'd say if you're going to, morning time for carnitine and glycine for bedtime. I will add in there, Brenda, that you made a comment that's really great that you change your routine, right? The other thing we want to see is habit changes. So I think that's what we really want to push for everyone is there have to be new habits formed. So it's you what happens when you have a habit is you have a trigger, you do something, and then you have an outcome. And we want to change that middle piece, right? We want that same trigger to happen. Hey, I want sugar. I'm triggered. I have something I want to eat. I'm really wanting something right now. And maybe now we start treating ourselves. Now we move in and decide move some kind of protein snack that we really love. Like I love these beef jerky chips. No one else probably gets excited about beef jerky like I do, but I have these beef jerky chips from People's Choice. I don't work for them, but they're amazing. You can find them on Amazon. With our People's Choice, they're these chips. And sometimes they'll put maybe I'll put honey on them to make a little bit of honey, a little sweeter on it, but still protein, or even by themselves. And what I'll do is when I get hungry, I want something that trigger happens, I need something. Here's my new thing I'm feeding myself with. Here's the new habit I'm forming. Go for protein. Go for this. Go for this. And the outcome is, oh my God, I feel great and I feel good about myself. I got still in there. And then maybe give myself a little treat. Like I eat a healthy meal. I'm giving myself some screen time on my phone. I'm getting to scroll on Instagram or getting to do something else that's a little bit fun for me. So what I recommend for a lot of patients is how do we form new habits and we form around food? Well, when we start getting that trigger to, hey, I need something right now, put something in that place that you'd normally do and give yourself some kind of outcome that's positive. And that's how we form these habits. And this is part of how the weight loss journey goes, right? If you want to do something to change how you're going to see food, you have to take the same triggers and put something different in there so you don't keep eating those same things when you come off the GLP-1s. Again, they are so perfect because you finally had that food noise turned down and you're able to control that food. Hey, I kind of am hungry. I can make a better option today. I can choose something different than I normally do. I'm not going to go for that ice cream that I wanted to have. I'm going to go for this instead. And we start doing that. These pathways start to change over and over and over again. It takes about 100 days to break a habit, to change the way your brain's functioning and firing. And now you have the ability, you've set in new habits in place. So when you come off these, this is the great thing. You come off, and I can't tell you patients coming to me and say, oh my God, I came off. I had that same trigger, but I'm eating something different instead. So I'm not getting those like high calorie foods. When you walk into the grocery store, what's the good food? Everything on the outside. All that stuff in the middle is really, really processed. It's not what we want to put in our bodies. It's going to be high calorie, very dense, but have very little nutrition in there. So if you find yourself looking to that middle of the store, well, maybe you start looking to the outside of the store. Again, not that I'm saying everything in the middle of the store is bad for you. That's not it at all. But it does have a lot more foods that are not going to be nutrient dense like we want. So Brenda, you did this already. You just said myself, like, I'm going to the gym. And my new habit is I go to the gym after this, I do this. And when you form these new habits, this is how it happens. A few months ago, one of my really good girlfriends, I missed a workout and I didn't make my morning workout. I was frustrated. I was angry. I'd go in the morning and I'd go to the gym and do some wall balls, maybe do some sled push or something in the morning. My morning routine wasn't really locked in yet. And one of my friends said, why don't you get on ClassPass and go find a class to do today? And she got me to do my first berries workout. And I've been hooked. Now my mornings, I have 4 to 5 days a week, I do a high intensity training class every single morning. So now if I miss this, I'm like, oh my gosh, right? When you miss this habit, I like, oh no, what do I do? What am I doing? How do I make this up? So again, forming these habits is as important right now as the GLP-1 is because you want to form new habits to put yourself on a different plan. It is lifestyle changes, people. It's not just a GLP-1. If you are not changing your lifestyle, this is not going to be something long term that you can maintain. So
Yeah, I
sorry,
love that.
tangent.
Yeah, no, I even with the snacks that I have now, I don't crave the old sweets that I used to now.
Mhm.
I just by I want to say that's just now it's just like muscle memory. I'll reach out for like the healthier one. So
Mhm.
now I'll the snacks that I will have in the day is, well, one, if I feel like I'm hungry, then I'll just drink a lot of water. If I'm still hungry, then I'll go get something that's like protein heavy.
Mhm.
But yeah, my snacks now are like the healthier ones, like nuts.
Yeah.
But I still get the occasional like hot Cheetos. I still treat myself,
Of
so
course,
it's
no, you
not,
should.
yeah.
No, of course. Listen. We're not trying to take it away. I will tell you, any diet I ever give someone, giving you more to eat of something is going to be better than taking away. If I tell you, hey, your
Mhm,
hot Cheetos is your favorite thing in the world, and I'm taking them away from you, Brenda, you're gonna be like, wait, what? Wait, I can't do this. We don't want to feel like we're taking stuff away, right? Reducing our options is never a great thing for
mhm,
us. So what we want to do is we want to give patients the option. Hey, you can have this stuff. There are cheat days. There are days we're human. I personally don't drink alcohol. It's my personal choice. I think alcohol is just absolutely terrible for you. The second you put alcohol to your lips and start drinking, you stop fat metabolism. That just stops it in its tracks. So I'm not a fan of alcohol, and I like GLP-1s because they do stop how much alcohol intake patients do. But that doesn't mean I say no alcohol ever, right? You're still human.
mhm.
People still want to have a drink every so often. So I don't want people to feel like when they're on these things, they can't ever have this thing ever again. Oh, I love Twinkies for some reason. Whoever loves Twinkies out there, God love you. I can't imagine Twinkies ever tasting good again in my life. But hey, if that's your thing, awesome. I don't take it away from you. I want you to go back to that and still have it, but in a reasonable amount, right? Our idea here is to change the habits of what you normally eat. These are everyday habits. These aren't my I'm splurging because I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to this event and I'm gonna have something special. Or I'm maybe you had a really big event happen in life. You want to treat yourself to something special. I did this big talk at work. I got a promotion. Great. Utilize this stuff in those times. Go for those treats that you have. We don't want to take the treats away. We still want those to exist. We are not about taking things away. We want to give back. We want to give back to people what they want is control. We all want to have control of our food and our food noise. So when you have that control, now you have the control to say no to this. But then when you know you get to deserve it or you know you want it, you can say yes. So that's my favorite thing about GLP-1s is
Mhm.
you still have that option to say, I still do want this. I still want it every so often. I think I've earned it today. So I'm going to go have it. I worked out really hard. I had a really great workout session. And this isn't like an every day I'm having treats, but this is like, oh, wow, every so often this was a really good day for me. This is really amazing. What would make it even better? This one thing I'm going to do, this one treat. So,
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned like the option is still there. Like, yeah, like I'll still get them occasionally, but now it just takes me longer to finish a
mhm,
single bag. Like I'll just
mhm,
like I don't want to finish it. Like I feel
yeah.
like I'm fine with just eating like these little bits and like I'm satisfied. Like that I know Sharice mentioned like yes, hot Cheetos, love them. But now they kind of go to waste. And same thing, Sharice, like I completely agree. Like I have to
Yeah.
get like the smallest bag now and like just eat a few in the day, like throughout the week. So
Yeah, don't feel guilty about
I
it.
love it. No, not at all. Like same like that's what I love to tell people, like my
Mhm.
family and friends. Like, no, I still go to In-N-Out. I still enjoy a hamburger, but I
Oh,
just
In
don't
and Out.
crave it as
Oh,
much. I don't crave
so
it as
jealous. We
much.
don't have it in Chicago. I'd
You
probably get those more often.
gotta come out to Cali.
Yeah, I know. I do. I do. Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I got to say that these are the things we don't, I mean, I can't stress enough. You don't want to tell someone they can't eat something because when you do that,
mm,
all you think about is now, I told you can't do this. What does every child, you see, you can't do this as a kid? Well, I want to do it now. Well, now why can't I do it? I want to do it. So we want to give yeses to people, not give nos, which is again
mhm,
why the GLP-1s give you that control to decide, for yourself, hey, this is the time I can say yes. And like you said, you're having a couple hot Cheetos there, which is like me. And when I do have something sugary, I have a couple bites of it, and then I'm like, oh, I'm satisfied. I'm good. And
mhm.
like that was enough for me. It just hits that dopamine response, just enough to feel like, oh, this was enough. I'm satisfied.
100%. Yeah. Jay said healthy habits, lifestyle changes is key. GLP-1s, peptides are a catalyst, and 100%. Yeah, you get into that habit of just with especially having had made those lifestyle changes. So I do my growth hormones at night after my workouts, and I want to touch on NAD because I know we're running up on time
Yeah.
because I like to take my NAD like in the morning before
Yeah.
starting my work day. And that is one of the additions with the personalization this week that
Mhm.
you can do NAD with the oral drops. So what can you tell us about NAD when it's combined with GLP-1s?
I really love to be on your NAD, and I love NAD in general because NAD works on energy detox. So it's going to work on energy a little bit differently than your carnitine does. Carnitine is improving fat metabolism, so is NAD, but NAD is the last substrate needed to make energy at the cell level. So in our cells, we have these um, basically mitochondria, and these mitochondria I mean, to say it simply, it's the powerhouse of the cell. Now, they do a lot more than just to make energy. They do a lot of things. They also determine whether or not that cell is supposed to die or live. But These mitochondria, they are what makes energy for your entire body. This little organelle is what everything runs off of. And if you don't have enough NAD, you are not going to survive. That's it. Drugs that block NAD lead to you dying. So NAD is super useful for every single thing in your body that needs energy. So we have better DNA repair, we have better detox, we have better immune system, we have better abilities to burn more fat, we have better repair recovery. NAD fixes kind of works in everything. It is right, kind of the buzz term right now. Everyone wants to be on NAD. Now, when you add this to your GLP-1, guess what? Better fat oxidation. I can tell you've had patients who've gotten stuck with weight loss. We add an NAD, and all of a sudden, weight starts dropping off. And they plateau and then it brings them back down. Whether that's because the detox pathways are better there, the metabolism improves. I can't tell you which one of these things is actually happening when I see this, but something is slowing weight loss down, and we can add an NAD, and it moves that pathway even further there, further down that route. So I do say if we're going to take NAD in the morning for sure. I made the mistake of giving it to my nurse once, and she told me she was very sensitive, so I gave her an NAD injection at 5 p.m. She was new, and she'd warned me, and then she cursed me out pretty heavily the next day when she was like, "I did not sleep last night. I had so much energy, I could not sleep. Like it was just like felt not wired, but I was just so awake." And just so present, I just couldn't put my head down and sleep. So I do tell people NAD is definitely a morning injection. It's not something utilized in the evenings or afternoons, unless you are able to sleep with it. Most people can't fall asleep on NAD when they're doing evening dosages of it. So it's an absolutely amazing option to B vitamin derivative that can help improve your weight loss journey, as well as help improve, overall systems across the board. I mean, NAD is really a longevity molecule that I use in practice every single day as well.
Oh, yeah, NAD has been great. Like I've done it just separately, and that's definitely a peptide that's gonna stick with me for a while,
Hmm.
for a while
Hmm.
longer. And I know we're running up on time, but I see a lot of questions coming in about protein. So of course,
Hmm.
for me, like I wish I had known about NAD because when I first hit my first weight plateau, so I just try to get more protein in. But on protein, what advice would you give to someone who's maybe not hungry, but they're trying to get all their protein in for the day?
Oh, that's a tough one. When I have patients that need to eat more protein, one of the first things I say is protein forward. So when you're sitting down to have a hamburger, for example, you go out to dinner somewhere, I'm telling them, hey, I want you to eat as much of that meat before eating that bun, or you're going to lettuce buns, or you're only eating half the bun. It is very hard to eat your protein goals when you are on GLP-1. I understand that fully. I made the mistake of moving my GLP-1 up a few weeks ago, and I lost weight. I lose weight very quickly on GLP-1. It just flies off me because my hunger goes down. And it was so hard. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how do I get this in? This is when beef chips come in. So everyone that hasn't had beef chips from People's Choice, let me tell you, they're absolutely amazing. And this is how I get it. There's like 40 grams of protein in a bag. There's some extra fat, but there's no carbs. So that's how I get my protein. And I'm like, hey, I'm having extra protein shake. I'm having a protein bar. I'm having things that are completely high protein to kind of make that up. You're not going to hit your protein goals. I can tell you right now, my patients in GLP-1s, to hit that protein goal of 1 gram per pound of body weight, it is incredibly difficult. It's hard enough for me to get 200 grams of protein a day. And that's what I'm trying for every day. That's the only thing I count. I don't want anyone out there counting carbs. I don't want them counting fats. I want them looking at the protein, seeing how much protein am I eating. Everything else will fall into place when you get that protein. So if you're hitting those protein goals time after time, that's all you're thinking about, it will start to be ingrained in your mind. Okay, what's my protein? If I'm sitting down to eat, what's my protein? I'm sitting here on our call today and eating these endurance protein chips. They're really tasty. They're birthday cakes. They have a little sweetness to them. So I'm eating protein, everything, pretty much everything I'm thinking about is what kind of protein, how much protein. There isn't a meal that I would say that doesn't come with protein. So when I'm eating anything, the last I'm looking at is my carbs. If I want some kind of dessert and sweet, it's not to the very end. I better have eaten 60 grams of protein at that meal. And whatever that is, for me, that's, about a third of my daily intake. So I'm eating enough protein that I can have extra carbs at some point. So when you're on a GLP-1, yes, protein is very hard to get in. I understand that so, so, so much. My recommendation was maybe back off from your GLP-1 a little bit. If you're not getting those protein goals in, guess what? We need that to happen. So I would even recommend, hey, backing off just slightly to get enough protein in so you're not missing on the protein, because those are what really, really matters. I'm not saying you back off enough that you're just starving again, but back off to the point that you're eating that in. Because patients come to me and they come back and they're saying, "Hey, I've been, losing weight, but I'm not getting this protein." I'm like, "Well, let's slow it down a little bit." My happiness is 1 pound a week. If we're losing a pound a week, I am very happy with that. So a pound a week weight loss means I'm not having to restrict their diet that much. And I have patients that lose between 3 to 5 pounds. So I mean, I know it happens. People are losing. I've had patients lose 10 pounds in a week. It has happened. But when that happens, guess what? You're not hitting protein goals. You're not, because you're just not eating. You're literally eating absolutely nothing and you're just shedding weight, which is when you really start to burn that muscle mass. And we want it to be a slow, controlled, weight loss. Listen, I know everyone has, beach season comes up. I have a wedding coming up. I have X, Y, and Z coming up, and I lose this weight by then. I fully understand. I get those times happen, and like, if you want to satisfy, if you want to, give away muscle mass to get to that weight goal, by all means, you really can try, or just force feed that protein down there. But a better sustained, plan is slowly lose that fat, because if you eat enough protein, you're going to burn off a ton more fat and keep as much protein as possible. So yes, if one is reduce my terzepatide or semaglutide dosage while I'm trying to get that protein in, or really just force feed that protein, get some beef chips, and come join me for the people's choice. They're absolutely amazing.
No, yeah. I love that. Yeah, with protein. I mean, there's so much new products coming out. I always go
Yeah.
to Target and I swear like the protein section, it's like protein Pop-Tarts, protein like
Yeah.
Doritos. Like there's so many
Wait, there's protein
options
Doritos
out
now?
there.
That's a
And
thing?
they, well, they look like but they're not actual
Okay.
Doritos. But there's like equivalents for a lot of
Yeah.
these like Quest I think came out with like these cheese puffs, but
Yeah.
they're very protein heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many options out
Yeah.
there. And
Lots of
of
options now.
course,
Lots of options.
GLP-1 support plus protein.
There you go. There you go.
I love it. So thank you so much for covering all this information. And I know there was a lot more questions. And just a quick question for anyone who's curious about starting peptides, but they're not sure where to start. What advice would you give them?
Oh, where do I start? Um, I personally start all my patients with at least getting basic labs so I can see what's going on, because without tracking, you won't know it's going to get better, right? So starting with, hey, where weight am I at? Where do I want to go? What do my labs look like? Those are all very important things. And also, what is my goal long term? This is a long-term, situation for all of us. This is wellness, right? We just said everyone's moving the wellness industry. We're all seeing this wellness movement. Everyone is getting into it. There's the gym that I'm part of. We have my clinics in there. We have meal prep service. Everyone's moving to the most wellness we can. We want to live longer and feel better. We're not like our parents and grandparents who just, oh, well, man, just do whatever. Our doctor said to just do this and we'll just hope it works. We're not having to take this in our own hands. So doing the research, reading the information, find out this is right for you, and figuring out if a GLP-1 is the right fit for you. There are other options out there, and you can do the weight loss on your own. I don't want anyone to think that it's impossible. These are the addition. This is not the, cheat code. It's just, how do I help myself reach this point? I've done this for years. I couldn't do it. What am I missing? And this might be the next step. Hey, this is really helping me get my brain under control. And now I'm gonna get these habits in place. So I don't think of it as a cheat. I think this is the next level of, how do I help myself do this long term? This is where I start. So GLP-1s is where I start, pretty much everyone.
I love
So
it. No, thank you so much. And of course, we'll have you back again very soon. I feel like we only touched like maybe a few of these questions, so people definitely
so
want you
sorry.
back. Thank you so much again, Jason, and thank you so much to everyone for joining us. So you can catch the replay on YouTube and Spotify and all the top podcasts tomorrow. Thank you again, Jason.
Shameless plug. My Instagram is at Dr. Perry Jason Pencek. If you have any questions, you can reach out. I pretty much
Yes.
answer everyone. So,
What was that TikTok handle again?
oh yeah, that is uh Dr. Thirst Trap, but I don't use TikTok, so there's not really much on there.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Have a
much,
good
Brenda.
night,
Have a good one.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.